Okay, I don't really know why I'm making this. I think it's currently the 3rd of December, 2025. I'm kind of in a bad place right now, mentally, and like job-wise and that. So, it's been about maybe 4 months since college ended. Not 4, even 5 now, about 5. And yeah, I haven't really done anything. I just kind of half-assed looking my way. Got one job, was shit at that, so yeah, I just kind of gave it up. And I am where I am now. And I had I wanted to do, but I kind of had like a change of heart. I wanted to do it, but my parents, they were really like against that, and it kind of caused like a huge chain of arguments over and over. And I guess now I've gone like one step back and I'm back to wanting to. And the thing is with having like Asian parents, well, you know, like Middle Eastern type parents, you know what I mean? They kind of like, they believe that a degree in education is everything. They don't want you to work. They want you to just keep teaching yourself until you're at like the highest point you can be. All for things like, you know, status, not being a disappointment. They care about status more than anything. It's status first and then money. And then life enjoyment. That's how they rank it. So even if you're unhappy or, you know, short on time with anything, coming back home at like 10 p.m, leaving at 7, as long as you have that name, that's all they care about. As long as they get to say my son went to a uni, or if you're in American college, or being able to say my son got his master's, or he got his PhD, he's at the top of his league. They will think about what you want last. They don't want you to be who you want to be. And it's kind of baffling to me because I believe that as a parent, you should support whoever your child wants to be. And it should, in my life, it was conceived unintentionally, if you can say that. As having an Asian dad, he had me 1 year, even though he didn't have a full-on relationship with my mum, who was European. And then I guess, like, I don't know, they got married together after. And I just heard a lot of things about my parents' relationships, how it caused a lot of conflicts in family, stuff like that. And my mum had the choice of being a single parent, and my dad was already like on his way. Someone in the family, I'm guessing my uncle, already found someone for my dad to be with. But yeah, I don't know, and he just decided to stay because my mum was pregnant. And I just kind of find it really cruel that he chooses to have me. Yeah. He didn't even choose, actually. It was unintentional. He unintentionally had me. And now he wants me to become something big. But, you know, as a kid, you're fed all these things like, oh, you have to become something big. You can't be an artist. You can't do that, do this. You have to do something that pays well and is respectable. And the truth is, I don't think that really matters. If you take Diogenes, for example, Diogenes from ancient Greece, philosopher, whatever you want to call him, he was the lowest of the low in terms of status. Yet he was happy. He saw the dogs on the streets and saw that they were happy. And it's crazy how like humanity has made all of these man-made things like certifications, credentials, status, when there's literally nothing wrong with just being who you want to be. There's no issue if you want to be a bum. At the end of the day, no one asked to be born. As long as you're chasing what you want to chase, I believe that's what matters. If I was a parent, even if my kid wanted to be like, I don't know, a cashier at McDonald's, flipping burgers, whatever you want to say, a low-end job, who cares? That's his choice. I conceived him without his consent or her. It shouldn't matter what he does. It's not my concern once he becomes an adult. As long as I've properly guided them and told them what I believe, telling them consequences, pros, blah, 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 I've done my duty as a parent. I don't have the right to judge my parents. I mean, my child, if they become something that is not the top end, but something that they're happy with. So, yeah, that's basically all I can say today. Because, I'm just here to pick up someone, but yeah, this isn't all I want to say, of course. It's just a part of it, but I'll hopefully get back to it tomorrow or another day. Right, see. Yeah, I'm back. It's about an hour or so since the recording I made. So, essentially, that was just a rant about parents and stuff like that. You know, I was raised within like Islamic influence. My dad, he's Muslim, even though he's even though he concepted me questionably, before marriage and stuff like that, he does believe and fear Allah. My mum, she was basically forced to become one, so she isn't really Muslim, but she is culturally, right? And me, I don't know, it's just the idea of God, especially in Abrahamic God, say like in Christianity, Judaism, Islam, just doesn't make sense to me. Like stuff like rizq and the belief that God will always help you, just kind of silly to me. Like I'm not smart. I'm your average guy. Quite stupid in some areas, but even I am able to understand that no God is like just gonna come save me out of nowhere. And because the whole concept of an Abrahamic God, all merciful, yet sends his all creations to all of. He has the how do I say? He simply has he makes a choice to send his creations to hell. It's kind of silly, because if you think about it, God, anything that God desires is his will. Anything that he wants happens. So if he really is this all perfect, all complex being, do you think it's fair for him to create us with our brains, with our environment, our influence, our planet, and also create Satan with the intent of making him rebel against God? Because if you think about it, nothing just happens on accident. If God really is such a complex being, how is he meant to allow quote-unquote bad things to happen? That's not an accident. That is God's choice. If you have a if you're a top tier computer scientist, coder, make code, right? Top tier, you literally cannot go wrong. Like, you have the ability to code whatever you want, but you intentionally put bugs in there to make the system fail, and then you blame it on another software that you made that's meant to destroy your other software's coding, that's not really the software's fault, and that's more your own. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, you can't blame something that you made. If you're all knowledgeable, all complex, all knowing, all powerful, it doesn't make sense for you to blame your own creations, including Satan, including humanity, including whatever you want to say. They're all God's choice. If God really is real, we're just doing out his role play. We're playing out his little script. He has chosen every little minute thing to happen. If God really is real, with how he's described, all complex, all powerful, he had the whole timeline of the universe set out in front of him. And yet he still chose to click play. He let time go on as it is, with Satan rebelling against him, with humanity making bad choices. I don't think that's a very good God, in my opinion. And it's just kind of unfair that we have to take the blame despite him creating our desires, our temptations, creating Satan to lure us into those temptations. It just doesn't make sense to me. You know, I don't want to rant too much, but yeah, okay. I think that's enough about religion for now. Yeah, so let me get back to why I first started this recording. Essentially, it's just like I feel lost in life, and you know, recording this in public, I'm a bit uncomfortable, trying to keep my voice low. Don't want others to like hear me out and stuff like that in public, but I don't know what to do. Like, back in college, back in secondary, I was inspired by like manga, comics, and that. I wanted to be a comic book artist. But then I kind of got a reality check, you know. Even the famous ones don't make that much. So, and plus, I wasn't all that into art. So I decided to become, I was thinking that I wanted to be a graphic designer. But, you know, graphic design, low-end job, whatever. I don't know, I just kind of fell out with it. It's not, did a bit of graphic work in secondary, but no. So in college, I just kind of guessed that I would want to own a business, but what kind of business? I don't know. I just wanted to own a business, but with no direction, right? And then I guess I just kind of landed on digital marketing, but my parents telling me to go uni, crashed out, and right now I'm like at the lowest point, like the lowest of the low right now. Like I have no, how do I say? I have no desires. Literally, all my desires is closeness with another person. I don't know, get fit and explore the world, nature, stuff like that. You know, national parks, however you want to say. You know, like going back to Diogenes. Of course, I wouldn't want to live exactly like Diogenes. I wouldn't want to piss on people. I wouldn't want to jerk off in public. A bit too much. Got to have some sort of humanity in you, but he lived in a barrel. He had a bowl, threw it away once he saw a kid drinking out of a river with his bare hands. And yeah, he threw that bowl away, so literally all he had was a couple of rags in his barrel. And Alexander, one of, a successful emperor, himself said that if he wasn't Alexander, he would rather be Diogenes. Just kind of shows that status, wealth, success. What does it really mean in the end? I don't know. I don't see the point of forcing yourself to be something that you don't want to be. If you want to live primal, if you want to, if you want to live in a forest and be homeless, who cares? If you want to work a dead-end job, or if you want to be rich, if you want to be successful, then good on you. But if not, who's to tell you that you can't be who you want to be? Even in today's society, you can't even live as whatever homeless. People will judge you, they will look down on you. But what's the point? You know what I mean? And especially with a dad who, cares so much about status. Once he told me, my family, like my cousins, uncles, stuff like that, they're always asking about me. And he himself said that it's none of their business. Yet, he also states the fact that he doesn't want me to have a shit name. Like, you know how the stereotype is with like Asian parents and Indian parents, like, oh, you need to be doctored a bit. You know, he doesn't actually legitimately want me to be just a doctor, but he looks up to the idea of me having the respect that someone would give a doctor. It's just like, why would I need that respect? If respect is, it's not essential in human life, you can be just fine without respect. Unless you're like a wanted criminal or something like that. Who needs respect? Why would you sacrifice years of your life just to get the reassurance of one person? Would you not rather just know that people do, why would you rather have the respect of someone for your career rather than for being who you are, for your person, who you are on the inside, your interests, your passions, your strengths and your weaknesses, you get me? Me, I struggle a lot with procrastination. I've had many opportunities to, get an apprenticeship in the past, but I just kind of got lazy. I don't know why. I just kind of sit at my desk and I can't do anything. I stare at the screen and I can't do it. I log into the website, I see the apprenticeship listed and I just click on it and it's just kind of there for a few hours and then I go to bed. And I know that's not a good thing, but I don't know, it's just who I am. I try my best to change, but I struggle with that. And I just think, like, my mom gets angry at me for it, my dad keeps asking what I want to do and telling me to go uni. Now my mom wants me to as well, but it's like, I don't know why they can't just accept me for who I am. Of course, it's not like I'm a bad kid or anything, right? I don't do drugs. I'm not around with bad people. I'm not disrespectful to them. I always do my best to make them happy where I can. Try spend time with them. Help them out. Do housework for them. I never ask them for money. Yeah, it's not enough. They just want me to be something for them. They want to say, my dad specifically wants me to say, my dad is, my kid is this. I'm proud to say that you're my child. But why? You conceived me. But yet you're forcing me to be something that I don't want to be. Isn't that like kind of cruel for a parent? And I understand his background. He comes from a third world country. Status is everything to them, right? And always bringing up how I live in the UK, have so many opportunities, so I should seize it. But I don't see the point. There's an opportunity that you're not really sure that you want to do, if it's going to burn you out, if it's something you don't want to do for the next 30, 40 years of your life. Why should you seize that? I just don't see the point. We have, in my opinion, we have one life. There might be an afterlife, I'm not sure. There's literally zero way to guarantee, but from what I know, there is only one life, which is this life. I'm thinking about the state of existence after we die. It's just kind of, it's kind of existential when you really sit down and think, damn, I'm gonna die. But like, once you die, nothing will matter. Your career won't matter. You literally won't have any understanding of what you are once you are dead. You're connected to the soil. All that's alive are some of your cells, your gut microbiomes, your bacteria, stuff like that. But your consciousness is gone. There's no such thing as consciousness. So why stress? Why can't we just be who we want to be with the only life that we have? Unless, of course, you believe in reincarnation. But even then, that just means you have another chance at life. So why should we take our only life so serious? Why should we spend about 40 years just doing what we don't like. Who cares if you want to be homeless? Who cares if you want to fucking make a business? You want to be poor? Good on you. If you want to be rich, good on you. Do whatever you like. No one's forcing you to be anything. That's what I would like to say. But you know how society is. They just want you to... I don't even know. They just want you to be something that you don't want to be. There was this one... I forgot what channel it was. It was of an Asian person who was a neurosurgeon, and he chose to give up his neuroscience career. He was a neurosurgeon, right? He chose to give that up at the age of nearly 40, and now he doesn't know what to do, but he's just kind of hiking, and he says it's the happiest he's ever been. As humans, I don't think we are destined for quote-unquote greatness, status. Who cares about that? What matters is who you are as a person, as long as your morals are good, as long as you do what you enjoy, you don't force yourself, you don't succumb to other people's, desires. Who cares if it is your parents, your friends, a sibling, anyone, the majority of the community? That doesn't matter. And I don't know, that's what I believe. But it's just much easier said than done when it's your parents that are telling you to become something, and parental pressures, blah blah blah. And I know that there's a lot of people out there, even first generation like me, who would just say, oh, come on, your parents came to this country for a better life. You should at least take the opportunity to become something big for them. But isn't that just kind of like slaving your life away for them? I don't see the point. If I am born, of course there's no way to get consent about being born, but if I'm born without consent, then why should I be something? Why should I have to be a top tier human? Of course, I'm not saying I have no desires. I want to be athletic. I want to be the best person that I can be morally. I want to be, humble, etc. But why should we judge others on who they are? Why should we judge, someone trying to become an influencer? Why should we judge someone who's a rubbish man? The stereotypical, oh, look at him, he's nothing. If you never study, you're going to be just like him. But that's none of your business. You know what I mean? Of course, I'm probably rambling on and on, just yapping. But yeah, I'm just kind of in a messy head state right now, where I don't know how to say what I want to say. But I'm not sure what else to say right now. I guess this is it for today. It's just like, I don't know. I've had episodes where I just kind of have to bite my own lip to stop myself from crying, because I think why can't my parents just accept me for who I want to be? If I don't want to go uni, why is that their business? And I understand their background. My dad comes from a third world country. My mum wishes she would have went uni, but they don't have to put that pressure onto me. That's just kind of life, isn't it? Why should we spend our life chasing money? Why would we spend our life chasing status if we're all going to die anyway? Why don't we just live life the way we enjoy? And who knows, if you enjoy life through having high status or having a lot of money, then that's good. You know what you want. But that doesn't mean everyone in society should chase status or money. That's not their desire. Everyone has their own desire, which is fine. Who knows, if you want to be rich, then be rich. You want to be poor, then be poor. There's no obligation in any human. No humans have any obligations except the ones that they take up. Say, for example, becoming a parent. Then at that point you have an obligation to raise your kid, right? Or, for example, if you work in, in a hospital, then you've picked up the obligation to take care of your patients. Hear them out. Give them the right treatment. But from birth, if you don't have any passion to do anything, right? Not passion, but if there's nothing that you want to do, then why do you have to do anything else? Why do you have to, for example, build up your status? Why do you have to build up money? Of course, money is needed in today's society if you want to live in a city or wherever. You want to get a house, get a mortgage, make savings, get a family. Then yeah, I hear that. But why should we live our only life stressing about materialism? Why should we stress so much about bills? Shit like that. And I've probably yapped too much. It's about 26 minutes in right now. I'm just yapping and yapping. All incoherent, no structure. But one final thing I want to say is humans, as a species, we're kind of, for being the smartest species on the planet, we're kind of fucking stupid, innit? Like, we've built up greed. We've built up so much ambition. And having ambition is okay. But we've built up a social norm where you have to have an ambition, you have to have money if you want to please your parents, if you want to, please your, your peers, your friends. I just don't see why we are allowing this to happen. We're just fucking, parents forcing you to be something. But why? What's the point? There's no point in forcing a life upon someone that isn't you, right? If you're a parent, right? Just for an example, if you're a parent and you force your kid to do something like uni, I understand from one point, you just want them to have a good life. And you don't want them to fail. But what's the point if you're not living their life and they are strongly refusing to do it? At that point, you're prioritizing money and status over their well-being, right? And sure, you might say, in 20 years time, 30 years time, they're going to thank me when they have a stable job and blah 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 and have a mortgage. But if they don't have a stable income or a mortgage, who cares? Maybe that's not what they want. Maybe they want to explore new things in the future. Maybe they don't want a career that has anything to do with the degree they have, right? And yeah, that's basically all I want to say. I've just been rambling incoherently for the last 15 minutes. I'm sure most of, if any, person viewing this hasn't stayed to the end, right? But if you have, then yeah, I'm glad that someone's hearing me out, and I hope. Yeah, I don't really know. Yeah, just glad that someone has been able to sit and just listen to me ramble on for about half an hour. Hopefully you guys will be able to understand stuff like status, money. It's just, it's just kind of unnecessary at the end of the day. Humans so smart that we've kind of crushed ourselves in. We just kind of built ourselves up as a species just for us all to be fat, lazy, fucking focusing on academics, focusing on pay, focusing on anything else, rather than actually living the life as that nature intended for us to explore, to develop in the way we want to develop. Never see an ape, a bunny, a cat, a dog, a fox. Never see them living by anyone else's rules, right? And do they look upset? Well, if they were treated badly, then yeah, but if they're on their own, maybe they've got a mate, friend, and they love each other unconditionally. They have no desires, no materialistic desires. Maybe they play with something now and then. They have some food, water. They're comfortable, they're happy. Who cares? I'm not saying we all have to live like animals, but no point in stressing over materialistic things if that's just not what we desire, you know? Just, yeah, nothing really else to say, I guess. Yeah, bye.